Hello everyone, welcome. Hi, Walaikum Salam, Khatija ji. I am good. How about you? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Julio. How are you? Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Steve. How are you? Here is yours. Sibga. Hi, dear Steve. How are you after so many days? Where were you, dear Steve? Welcome back. I am fine. How are you today? I am good too. Thank you so much for asking. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Nara. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Umida. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Carter. Here is yours. Oh, it's okay, dear Steve. Okay. No problem. Hi, dear Arlena. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Raylene. How are you? No, Khadija. Yeah, of course. Hi, dear Raja. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Arvis. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nadira. Here is your good name. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you. Hi, dear Grace. Here is yours. Hi, dear Papa. Here is your good name. It's okay, dear Steve. Hi, dear Coco. Here is yours. Hi, dear Tapendra. Here is your good name. Shannon. Hi, dear Shannon. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear. Hi, dear Asfiya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Anish. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Dara. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Risha. Here is yours. Hey, dear Arsha. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Raza. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shagufta. Ada, here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hello, dear Nizam, here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Samila, what a beautiful name you have. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to double tap on your screens and PM. PM is your name. Hi, dear PM. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Anu. Here is yours. Okay, let's see who is next. Hi, dear Kashif. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Riona. Here is yours. Hi, dear Xander. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Temur. Here is yours. Hello, dear Janella. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Nadine. Here is yours. Hi, dear Hiba. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Venu. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ali. Here is yours. Hey, dear Tiona. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Rubab. Here is yours. Hello, dear Deepshika. What a beautiful name you have, dear Deepshika. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rana. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Suraj. Here is yours. Hey, dear Ravi. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Anjali. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Talha. Here is yours. Hey, dear Camila. Here is your good name. Hey, dear Alexis. How are you? Hi, dear Sonu. Here is your good name. Hey, dear Zusa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ida. Here is your good name. Hey, dear Honey. Here is yours. Hi, dear Niharika. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to double tap on your screen, guys. Hi, dear Ada. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nile. Here is a good name. Hey, dear Fifa or Fifa. Here is yours. Hey, dear Hania. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Alice. Here is yours. Hey, dear Emma. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Bittu. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sanjana. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Izafa. Here is your beautiful name. What a unique name you have, dear Izafa. Hey, dear Ali. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sargun. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Umar. Here is yours. Hey, dear. Okay, Jimmy, for you, dear Army. Hi, dear Aradhya. Here is your beautiful name. Aradhya, how are you? Let's see who is next. Hey, dear Anand. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear. Hello, welcome. Inu. Here is your. Oh, I forgot the spelling. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Let me add the sticker. What is the question for the. Oh my god. Let me add the question, guys. What's your favorite fruit? Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Oh, let me add the question. Hi, Kapil, how are you? Hey, dear Ole, here is your good name. Hi, dear Aileen, here is your. It's on the. It hides the teddy face. Why is not moving? Oh, it's okay. April. Oh, mango. I am writing mango. Hey, dear Cynthia, here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Hood. Here is your strawberry. Yay. Hey, hi, dear Samriti. Here is your good name. How are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Adiba. Welcome back. How are you, dear cutie pie? Hi, dear Zahra. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Asel. Here is yours. I am doing good. How about you? Hi, dear Hamza. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Arjun. Here is yours. Hey, dear Naila. Here is your good name. Hi, I am good too. Dear Hania, here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to double tap on your screens, and there is a subscribe button. Gargi, welcome. Hi, Gargi, how are you? Waiting for your finger press. Hi, dear Gargi. Here is your good name. How are you? Hey, dear Duha. It is a beautiful name. Hey, dear Hannah. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hey, dear Noor. Here is yours. Hey, dear Hoshi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mayor. Here is yours. Hi, dear Faha. Welcome back. Here is yours. Hey, dear Ruby. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Hadia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Zanisar. What a unique name you have, dear. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Umme Farwa. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Emal. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ada. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Deepy. Here is yours. Let me adjust the sound. Okay. Hi, dear Ronnie. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Sarah. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ferrankis. How are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Anamika. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Reed. Here is yours. Hi, dear Reva. Here is your beautiful name. Welcome back. Hi, dear Ayan. How are you? Hello, dear Saiba. Here is your beautiful name. Okay, Deepika? Deepika. Oh, Deepika. Let me check the spelling. Deepika. Okay, here is yours. Hi, dear Home. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Namer. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Voda. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Lasya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Suhana. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sophia. Sophia. Here is yours. One name each person, please. Your name is Dan, dear. Hi, dear Lisa. Here is your good name. Hey, dear Jenny, for you, dear Blink. Hi, dear Raj. Here is yours. No, it's okay. Hi, dear Kashif. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Danveer. Here is yours. What a unique name you have. Hi, dear Alicia. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Fatima. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mahnoor. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Sahal. Here is a good name. Hey, dear Arna. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Arna. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Nazia. Here is yours. Guys, don't forget to double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Hume. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Prince. Here is yours. Hello, you're most welcome. Dear Sonia, here is your good name. Hey, dear Adam, here is yours. Thank you so much, dear. Hi, dear Arjun, here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Selena, here is yours. Hi, dear Davian, here is your good name. Hi, dear Zainab, here is yours. Hey, dear Melissa, here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Ibrahim, here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Eliza, here is yours. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Hansak, here is your good name. Thank you, dear Arna. Nice meeting you. Hi, dear Gunjan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Aditya. Here is your good name. How are you? Hi, dear Manvi. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Musaf. Let me check the spelling. Musaf. Here is yours. Hey, dear Rabiata. Rabiata. Here is yours. Hi, dear Isabel. How are you? Hello, dear Priya. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Raj. Here is yours. Hi, dear Arju. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Reyes. Here is yours. Hi, dear Mehal. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Noor. Here is yours. Hello, dear Talha. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Amna. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ahmad. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Ozan. Here is your good name. Jenny. Happy birthday, dear. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Miriam. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ariel. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shiza. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Dharma. Here is yours. Dharma. Hello, dear Hanora. How are you? Happy birthday. Here is yours. Hi, dear Dinda. Here is your good name. How are you? Hello, dear Vihanga. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Akshita. Here is yours. Hi, dear Vishu. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Pratikya. Here is yours. Pratikya. Hi, dear Firuza. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mira. Here is yours. Hey, dear Linhchi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Bhavya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Chehek. Here is yours. Happy birthday! Guys, don't forget to double tap on your screens and don't forget to drink water because it's summer. Love to drink some water. Just give me 1 minute. Thank you so much for your patience. Walaikum salam. Sure, G. Here is yours. Hi, dear Puri. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ravish. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anushka. Here is your good name. Anushka. Hi, dear Rashi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Virushali. Virushali. Here is yours. Walaikum salam. Subhaji, I am perfectly alright. What about you? Thank you so much for asking. Hi, dear Layton. Here is your good name. Hi, dear. Here is yours. Hello, dear Imad. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Zahra. Here is yours. Hey, dear Varsha. Mango, lychee, watermelon, and oh wow, you are a good girl. Hi, dear Varsha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sahil. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Kanika. Here is yours. Welcome back, dear Ishal. How are you doing today? Here is yours. Hi, dear Lakshan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Shaxri. So hard. Zod and A. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Saria. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Maudi. Here is yours. मुझे लग रहा है आप कोई पूछ रही हैं मैंने इशाल का नाम नहीं देखा. Hi, dear Priyanshi. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hey, dear Paige. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ronak. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Latifa. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Manessa. Here is your beautiful name. Oh, you're most welcome, dear. Guys, don't forget to double tap on your screens, and there is a subscribe button waiting for your finger press. Let's see who is next. Ishika. Hi, dear Ishika. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Maudi. Here is yours. What a unique name you have. Hi, dear Arohi. Here is your beautiful name. You're most welcome, dear Manasa. Hi, dear Mavya. Here is yours. Strawberry. Yay. Hi, dear Ritu. Happy birthday. Hi, dear Preet. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Bhumika. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Chirag. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Krisha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Somu. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Faisal. Here is yours. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to double tap on your screens, like and subscribe. Kanishka. Hi, dear Kanishka. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Anshika. Here is yours. Hi, dear Robin. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear name Hafsa. Here is yours. Not yet, Sabraji. Hey, dear Ellie. Here is yours. Hi, dear George. Here is a good name. Hey, dear Carla. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Visha. Here is yours. Hi, welcome. Let's see who is next. Someone is summoning. Hey, dear Ibra. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Iman. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sanya. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Chubby. Here is yours. Hey, dear Yara. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Arnav. Here is yours. Maybe Surgadi. Hi, dear Mahima. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Azra. Here is yours. Hi, dear Elena. Here is your good name. How are you? Hi, dear Malak. Welcome back. How are you doing today? Hi, dear Poppy. Here is yours. Hello, dear. He's young for you. Hi, dear Anabia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Lami. Here is yours. Let's see who's gonna be the 70 liker, guys. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Faiza. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sana. Here is yours. Hey, dear Amira. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Arnab. Here is yours. Hey, dear Hina, here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Rishit, here is yours. Hi, dear Lakshmi. Mango. Oh, nice. I forgot the spelling. Let me check the spelling, dear. Lakshmi. M-I. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. Hi, dear good Mosa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Flora. Flora Prego. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Doha. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Jay. Here is yours. Hi, dear Honey. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear. Let's see who is Jungkook. For you, dear. Thank you so much for joining. Apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Hi, dear Wally. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Praveen. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rudranj. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Muskan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Kuze. Here is yours. Hello, dear Zan. How are you? Hi, dear Wally. Here is your beautiful name. What is your name? Hi, dear Ovi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Talia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Hira. Here is yours. Hello, dear Raina. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Shreya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zaroon. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Nurdu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ismail. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Gishe. Here is yours. Hello, dear Virat. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Ronak. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for the compliment. Hey, dear Sakshi. Here is yours. Hey, dear Darshika. Here is your good name. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Kavya. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Mehak. Here is yours. Hey, dear Jenny. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ada. Here is yours. Hi, dear Deva. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Mate. Here is yours. Just a minute. Hi, dear Madison. Here is yours. What a unique name you have, dear. Hi, dear Samiksha. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Yaran. How are you? Hello, dear Musa. Welcome. Hi, dear Yaran. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Musa. Here is yours. Hey, dear Neele. Here is your beautiful name. Strawberries and cherries. Oh, nice. Hi, dear Iman. Here is yours. Hello, dear Priya. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Jay. Here is yours. Apple. Nice. Hi, dear Alray. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Oscar. Here is yours. Hi, dear Maria. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Jyoti. Here is yours. Hi, dear Kavya. Here is your good name. Hey, dear Ayushi. Here is yours. How are you? Let's see who is next, guys. Don't forget to press the like and subscribe button. Hi, dear Rabbi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Shivansh. Here is yours. How are are you? Hi dear the dear. Oh, let me rewrite for you. THATER. Here is yours. What a unique name you have, dear. Hi dear Gabby. Here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Robin. Here is yours. Hey dear Mona. Here is a good name. Hi dear Dostan. Here is yours, guys. We are stuck on 77. Please double tap on your screens and don't forget to press that subscribe button. Hi, dear Nikita. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Muhammad. Here is yours. AD. Okay, let's see who is next. Hi, dear Hiosus. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yosina. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Anshdeep. What is your name, man? Have to tell. Hi, dear Nashe. Here is yours. Hi, dear Naila. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Aravi. Here is yours. Jyotisha. Hello, dear Joshi. Let me check. Joshita. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Ansh. Hi, dear Ansh. Here is yours. Hi, dear Musa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Yalda. Here is yours. Hi, dear Alex. Here is a good name. Apple. Oh, nice. Hey, dear Jenny. Here is yours. Hi, dear she. What do me? What is yours, dear? Here is yours. Hi, dear Nabiha. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Musa. Here, Musa was there, I think. Oh, I forgot. Here is yours. It's okay. Hey, dear Ada. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ine. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jay. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Josh. Here is yours. Hi, dear Vanya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Gojo. Here is yours. Hi, dear Malhar. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Yash. Here is yours. Hi, dear. My name is Maisha. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Maisha. Lots of love. Here is yours. Hi, dear Luna. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sukuna. Here is yours. Hi, dear Safi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Strawberry. Nice. Nice, nice. Ine, here is yours. Hi, dear Sarah. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Soha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nabiha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Lara. Here is your beautiful name. What is your name? Name Grace? Let me check the spelling. Guys, double tap on your screens. Nimwaiz. Here is yours. Hello, dear Miriam. Mirriam. Here is yours. Hi, dear Emmanuel. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Let's see who's next. Hi, dear Eamon. Stay hydrated, guys. Eamon. Hi, Eamon. Hello, Rachit. Hi, dear Eamon. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Rachit. Here is yours. Hey, dear Eliza. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Pari. Here is yours. Hi, dear. Thank you so much for subscribing. What is your good name, dear? Hey, dear Nella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ritika. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Anvi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Memuna. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Arman. Here is yours. Hi, dear Atif. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Faiz. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anaya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Anu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Satyam. Hi, welcome. Here is yours. Okay, Chopper, for you. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Manahil. How are you? Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Adne. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Azhan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aisha. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hey, dear Hanko. Here is yours. Hanko. Oh, what was the spelling? Hencko. Here is yours. Hey, dear Sanu. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Amrit. Here is yours. Hello, dear Lisa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Inaya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Pranchi. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi, dear Mona. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Hetika. Hetika. Here is yours. Hi, dear Lisa, for you. Hi, dear Prashant. Here is your good name, Prashant. Thank you so much for joining. Here is yours. Oh, welcome back, Ronaldo, for you. Here is yours. Hi, thanks. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Tanvir. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Anaya. Here is yours. Hey, dear Sidra. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ishi. Here is yours. Hey, dear Alexa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Joao. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Ali. Hi, dear Ali. Here is a good name. Hey, dear Herjas. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Chona. Here is yours. Hi, dear Anu. Here is good name. Hi, dear Amina, here is yours. Hello, dear Zoya, here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Zoo, hi, here is yours. Let's see who is next. Guys, double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Tomato is a fruit. Hi, dear honey, here is your good name. Hello, dear Eva, here is yours. Geez, over you, dear. Hey, dear Rahel, how are you? Here is your good name. Hi, dear Pallav, here is yours. Hi, dear Ishal, here is your beautiful name. How are you? फिर उसको हम सालन में क्यों डालते हैं, फ्रूट चाट में क्यों नहीं डालते? फ्रूट चाट में भी डालते हैं कुछ लोग, वो उसमें डालते हैं ना, वो जो सैलड होता है सालसा में भी डलता है ना. Guys, double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Anaya. Here is your good name. We are stuck on 97. Can we make it 100 at least? 3 more. Hi, dear Samir. Here is yours. Hi, dear. Look, Ice. Huh? Hey, dear Dahlia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Fatima. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Zishan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Yewin. Here is yours. Hello, dear Asma. Here is your beautiful name. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Noor. Here is yours. Hi, dear Siva. Here is your beautiful name. My name is Ishal, dear. Hi, Ishal. Hi, dear Aditya. Here is your good name. Hi, dear. Oh, you're most welcome. Thank you. Hi, dear Lekhna. Lekhna. Wow, what a beautiful name. Here is yours. Hi, dear Gina. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sahir. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zeemal. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Kirti. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rishik. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Yeah, with E. Hi, dear Anaya. Here is your good name. Hey, dear Bara. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jagan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Rumana. Rumana or Purnama? Rumana. Hi, dear Rumana. Here is yours. Hello, dear Abid. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Shanze. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Monica. Here is yours. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, guys. Let's see who is next. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, just give me 1 minute. 1 minute, please. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Manasa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Yashal. Here is yours. What a unique name you have. Hi, dear Adele. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Arifin. Here is yours. How are you? Hey, dear Winnie. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Homera. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear Homera. Let's see who is next. Adele. Elisa. Hey, dear Adele. How are you? Hi, dear Elisa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Aileen. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sarah. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Lion. Here is yours. Hi, dear Evie. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Prasujaya. Oh, what a unique name you have, dear. Here is yours, guys. Don't forget to double tap on your screens, and there is a subscribe button waiting for your finger press. Let's see who is next. Yamini. Hi, Yamini. How are you? Hello, dear Aziza. How are you? Hi, dear Yamini. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Aziza. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sammy. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Abiha. Here is yours. My name is Ishal. Eshal. Hi, Kasif. Merhaba, Nisazan. Hey, dear Fariha. Here is yours. Abiha and Fariha. What are rhyming names? Hi, dear Turkey. Merhaba. İmzalara hoş geldiniz. Hi, dear Yash. Hi, dear Ermita. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Divya. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you. ZWE. Here is yours. Hi, dear Huda. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Muntaha. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Abuzer. Here is your beautiful name. Welcome back, Habibullah. Thank you so much for joining again. Habib, here is yours. Hello, dear Elazarine. Okay, after this, dear guys, double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Let's see who is next. ELEAZERINE. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Hi, dear Ola. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Eduardo. Here is yours. How are you? Hi, dear Apeksha. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, welcome back, Amul Bhai. How are you? Hi, dear Wesley. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Anna. Here is yours. Hi, dear Amaya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Lily. Here is yours. Hey, dear Cappy. Here is your good name. Guys, double tap on your screens. Lily. Hi, dear Lily. Here is yours, Daisy. Thank you so much, dear. Lots of love. Hi, dear Daisy, here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Olga, here is yours. Hi, dear Alia, here is a beautiful name. Oh, thank you so much. Glad you're feeling that way. Hi, dear Umar, here is yours. Hi, yes, dear Hamna, here is your yes, Amma Bhai Khadija and Sibga ji. Here is your and Chini Bhai. Hi, dear Bishuk, here is your good name. Hi, dear Shruti, here is yours. Anaya. Oh, मुझे लगा मैंने लिख दिया है अनाया. Hi dear Anaya. अनाया मैंने शायद पहले किसी और का लिखा है. Oh, वालेकुम अस्सलाम Mahi. How are you? Mahi Khan. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear Mahi. How's your day going? जून नहीं काफ़ी दिन हो गए हैं पता नहीं मे बी शायद. Let's see who's next. Tayyab. Hi dear Tayyab. Here is yours. How are you? Hi dear. I am good too. Thank you so much for asking, dear. Hi dear Shahreen. Here is yours. Hi dear Anu. Here is your good name. कैसे? Hi dear Zahra. Here is yours. Hello dear Bilal. How Betul. Okay dear Betul. After this, Bilal. Here is yours. Hi dear Betul. Here is your good name. Here is yours. Hi dear Karthi. Here is yours. हाँ जी सिब्बा जी इधर ही थे अभी. Hi dear Ishal. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi dear Turjo. Here is yours. Hello dear Kasif. Here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hi Ilakshi. Hello dear Ilakshi. Here is your beautiful name. क्योंकि मुझे समझ ही नहीं आती उसको उसकी पोस्ट की है. सिब्गा जी शायद मैंने आपका कमेंट मिस किया पिछले वाला तो इसलिए अब हम समझ नहीं पा रहे आपके कमेंट का मतलब. अभी एक और क्वेश्चन सोच के आई हूँ. पूछो. पूछो माही. सिब्गा जी किस बारे में बात कर रहे हो? Hi dear Neha, here is yours. Strawberry. Oh, nice. Hey dear Aditya, here is a good name. How are you? Hey dear Unicorn, here is yours. Mango. Hi. Huh? Hi dear Severin, here is your good name. सिब्गा जी किसकी बारे में बात कर रहे हो? शाह जी आपने सब्सक्राइब किया है क्या? किसको? Hi dear Rubama, here is ये नहीं बताऊंगी मैं माही. Here is yours. ये बहुत पर्सनल क्वेश्चन है ये नहीं बता सकते. Oh, welcome back dear Dashu. How are you? Here is yours. अरे अरे क्या लिखने लगी थी मैं. चलो करो. लेकिन फिर भी मैं बताऊंगी नहीं चाहे आपने ठीक भी गेस किया तब भी. ठीक है ना. Hi dear Darshu, here is yours. पता नहीं यहाँ पे अपडेट क्यों नहीं हो रहा है. हो गया. Hello dear Hannah, here is yours favorite. Hi dear Rita, here is your good name. Hi dear Jasmine, here is yours. How are you? Hi dear Aisha, here is your good name. How are you? Hello dear. इनकी दोस्त को. ओ अच्छा. हाँ, मैंने भी इसलिए नहीं किया बिकॉज़ समझ नहीं आया मुझे। Hey dear Nora, here is yours. Hi dear Anam, here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hey dear Safa, here is yours. Guys, we are stuck on 118. Can we make it 125 at least? अमल भाई moderator हैं आप. Hi dear Sani, here is your good name. It's okay, I'll manage it by myself. Hi dear Ramin, here is your beautiful name. How are you? Hello dear Swarling, here is yours. Hi dear Huda, here is your good name. Hello dear Abhishek. Abhishek. शाह जी, यहाँ किसी का नाम अमूल है जी आपका क्यों टू हैंड दर्द नहीं होते क्या होते हैं आपको पता है जब मैं सुबह उठी ना मेरा ये वाला हैंड इतना ज़्यादा स्वेल हुआ था मेरी मम्मा कहती है कौन से आदमी का हाथ लग रहा है Hi dear Severin, here is your good name. Hi dear Fatima, here is yours. Hi dear Rasyad, here is your good name. How are you? Hi dear Puri, here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screen. है ना लग रहा है अब पहले वाली लाइव देखोगे ना उसमें मेरे हाथ देखना और अब देखो मोटे हो गए मेरे हाथ ऐसे लगता है तो स्वेलिंग हो जाती है Hi dear Hafsa, here is a good name. चाची अगर मैंने आपको कसम नहीं दिया होता तो मैं आपके हाथों की तारीफ करता कोई बात नहीं शुक्र है देव जी मैंने आपको वैसे कब दिया मुझे याद ही नहीं है Hi dear Harry, here is yours. Oh sorry माही क्या लिखा था Hi dear Saurav, here is your good name. Hi Mango. Hi dear Mosam, here is yours. Majority का mango ही है favorite fruit. अच्छा नहीं दिया था क्या पता नहीं मुझे याद नहीं पड़ा शायद Hi dear Sahil, here is yours, Hurulan. What a beautiful name you have, dear Hurulan. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi dear Sarah, here is your good name. Hi dear Tiyasha, here is yours. अब मैं आपको जितना जान सकी हूँ उस पे मुझे राजपूत लगती है Hey dear Daniel, here is your good name. नहीं नहीं राजपूत नहीं है Hi dear Reshma, here is yours. Hi dear Mahira, here is your good name. Hey dear Sahil, here is yours. Hi dear Faiza, here is your beautiful name. Hey dear Noor, here is yours. अरे नहीं Thank you. You're most welcome, dear guys. Double tap on your screen. सबके जी आपने मेरा comment देखे थे वहाँ? Hi, dear Vilo. Here is your beautiful name. कह रही हैं देखे थे? Oh my God. Hi, dear post. आगे वाला बड़ा अच्छा comment था. Hey, dear Ali. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Saren. Here is yours. Yes. Hey, dear Guinea. Here is a good name. How are you? आपने कहा आप नहीं बताएंगी आप जो भी कास्ट बोली आप बोलोगी कि ये नहीं है हाँ ट्राई कर सकते हो Hi dear DIRUVEE. Here is yours. ओके शायद जी आपने देखी थे नहीं नहीं मैंने नहीं देखे मैंने इतना डीपली देखा ही नहीं डूरियन और वाटरमेलन ओह वाओ Hi dear Zeus, here is yours. Hi dear Fatima, here is your good name. ये जिनका कमेंट ना इसका इतना मजे का रिप्लाई आया ना. Hi dear Chirag, here is yours. Hey dear Vega, here is your good name. How are you? Hi dear Arisha. Arisha मैंने लिखा नहीं अभी क्या? मुझे लगा मैंने लिखा है. कोई बात नहीं. Here is yours. Hi dear Zainab, how are you? Here is your good name. Hi dear Alnas, here is your good name. Guys, don't forget to double tap on your screens and let's see who is next. Hi dear. Hello, hi, welcome. Chica. What a beautiful name you have, dear Chica. Here is yours. Hi dear another Sarah. Here is yours. Hey dear Aiden, here is your good name. माही फर्स्ट वर्ड बता दिया फिर सारा पता चल जाएगा ना. Hi dear Michael, here is yours. Hi dear Elena, here is your beautiful name. Oh मैं ठीक हूँ निधि जी, आप कैसे हो? Here is yours. Welcome back. Hi dear Sajjad, here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Karthik, here is yours. Hey dear, thank you. You're most welcome dear. शाहजी अमन सरनेम है मुझे पता है. कौन अमन? क्या मेरी आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है? कोई बोल रहा है आपकी आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है. Hi dear Isabella, here is yours. Hi, welcome. मैंने अपनी बहन के मोबाइल से भी आपको सब्सक्राइब किया. अरे अरे क्यूटी पाई, थैंक यू. इतना प्यार है आपको मुझसे. Hi dear Sian, here is yours. Thank you, thank you. मैं ठीक हूँ, आप कैसे हो? You are the cutest dear. Thank you so much for joining. Hi dear Karthik, here is your good name. Hey dear LA, here is yours. आप कहाँ से हो? मैं ना इशाल जी आवाज़ तो आ रही है हमेशा की तरह. डरावनी है ना? शुक्र है डरावनी ही बोला है. हाय डियर, आपका क्या नाम है डियर? मोनू, आपका क्या नाम है? व्हाट्स अ गुड नेम डियर? हाय डियर शीज़ा, हियर इज़ योर गुड नेम. बताओ कहाँ से हूँ, बताओ, आप बताओ, गेस करो. हाय डियर सुबू, हियर इज़ योर गुड नेम. हाय. डरावनी आपने बोला है ना, मुझे अपनी ऊपर ही हंसी आ रही है. फैबियोला, here is yours. Actually, I have uploaded a Q&A video on my channel, so you can watch that video if you want to know about me in details. Hi dear Akriti, here is your. Sorry Mahi, sorry. मैंने अपने सिस्टर के मोबाइल से आपको सब्सक्राइब किया. हाँ मैंने आपको ही बोला था डियर क्यूटी पाई. थैंक यू. Hi dear Misam, here is yours. Thank you so much dear. Really appreciate your love and support. Hey dear Nora, here is your good name. Shreya. Hi dear Shreya, how are you? मैं अभी जस्ट आपको याद कर रहा था आप ऑनलाइन हो. मैं तो इस टाइम रोज़ ऑनलाइन आती हूँ. सैफू आज आप लेट हैं. कैसे हैं आप? वेलकम बैक. Hi dear Miriam, here is your beautiful name. How are you? अब ये कौन है जिसको आपने ब्लू दिया है? ये हमारे बहुत ही पुराने सब्सक्राइबर हैं. Hi dear Naksh, here is your. शुरू में इन्होंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है सही बताऊँ तो, फिर अब ये गायब रहते हैं. Hi dear Aima, here is yours. Dear Moment, here is your beautiful name. What's your channel name? You can see there is written e-signatures. Hi, dear Barbara. Here is your good name. How are you? Hey, dear Nehu. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ronnie. Here is yours. Hi. एक मिनट यो शायद से मैं पहले भी यहाँ आई थी, याद नहीं अभी। बाय द वे सारा माय नेम। वेलकम बैक सारा जी। अगर आप पहले आई थी, अगर नहीं आई थी तो भी वेलकम। बट थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग डियर सारा। अगर दोबारा से खोना नहीं चाहती हैं तो सब्सक्राइब कर लेना ताकि आपको नोटिफिकेशन मिलता रहे। दीदी आपके पास बहुत अच्छी है। थैंक यू सो मच डियर, लॉट्स ऑफ लव। श्रेया, आपका नाम मुझे याद हो गया है। हाय डियर हादिया, हियर इज़ योर्स। गुरु लैंड नाम मैंने पहले लिखा था डियर, बट अगर आपको स्क्रीनशॉट चाहिए तो आप ले सकते हो, अभी बाद में भी ले सकते हो। Guys, don't forget to double tap on your screens and there is a subscribe button waiting for your finger press. Oh hi, Cherry. Oh good. क्या लिखा था अमूल भाई आपने? मैंने आपका कमेंट मिस कर दिया है आई थिंक। अरे मुझे आपका नाम याद हो गया है श्रेया जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका। हाय डियर, एक मिनट अभी पढ़ती हूँ। 2 कमेंट्स, इतने बड़े बड़े पैराग्राफ्स आए हैं। वाटरमेलन, एबीडी वाटरमेलन। ओह वाओ। ईशू जी आप कितना प्यारा बोलते हैं। आपकी स्ट्रीम जैसे स्क्रॉल की नीचे। अच्छा, ऐसा कोई भी बात नहीं करेंगे हम किसी के भी बारे में। राइट नाउ आई एम सीरियसली वंडरिंग व्हाई इंडिया पाकिस्तान गॉट। अरे यार ऐसी बातें मत किया करो ना। If it never happened, maybe I would not have to worry about passport just to meet you. Why do you wanna meet me? क्यों मिलना भाई आपको मुझसे? सिब्गा जी आपने अभी तक मेरी बहन की आवाज़ नहीं सुनी। चले एबीडी वाटरमेलन, एबीडी लिखते हैं हम। Hi dear ABD, here is yours. Hi dear Shiny, here is your good name. Reply नीचे जी पूछिए। हाफिजा अबीरा. Hi dear Hafiza. Mashallah, welcome. How are you? Here is yours. Hi dear Sophie, here is your good name. उसको बोलो मेरे पास बाकी काम भी है, नहीं मिलना है आपसे। अरे नहीं, मैं किसी से नहीं मिलती हूँ भाई ऑफलाइन। मुझे वैसे ही बड़ी सोशल एंजाइटी है, बाहर में किसी से नहीं मिलती। विशाल जी वैसे काफ़ी प्यारी आवाज़ है आपकी, मेरी प्यारी ना। मत बोलो, पहले आपने अभी अभी डरावनी बोला था ना। हाय डियर सुश, हियर इज योर्स। हाय डियर अयान, हियर इज योर गुड नेम अयान अली। थैंक यू सो मच गाइज। दीदी आपके पास बहुत अच्छी और सो स्वीट। आज मेरा बर्थडे, प्लीज़ मेरा नाम लिख दो प्लीज़। दीदी क्या नाम है आपका? हैप्पी बर्थडे डियर। दीदी तानू मेरी बहन का नाम है, आप उसको लिख सकते हो प्लीज़। ओके। तानू, here is yours. Hi dear स्वारित, how are you? नीचे आने दो मुझे, मैं काफ़ी ऊपर हूँ। स्वारित, ओहो स्वारित, here is yours. हेलो, मैं वही हूँ जिसने अपने सिस्टर मोबाइल से सब्सक्राइब किया था। मेरा नाम हाफिजा अबीरा है। ओह थैंक यू। हाँ मुझे आपने बताया था कि आपने हिफ्स कंप्लीट कर लिया है माशाल्लाह से। हाँ मुझे याद आ गया। Hi dear Aruna, here is your beautiful name. Here many girls wear Pakistani suits. So what kind of clothing trends are popular in Pakistan? आजकल कौन सा ट्रेंडिंग में चल रहा है? मुझे खुद भूल गया है भाई। मैं वैसे भी कोई ट्रेंड फॉलो ही नहीं करती हूँ। सादी सी हूँ मैं, जो मुझे मिलता है मैं आराम सुकून से पहन लेती हूँ। दीदी आज मेरा बर्थडे है, मेरा नाम मौसम है। अरे हैप्पी बर्थडे डियर मौसम। here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi dear Lamia, how are you? ईशा जी, आपको लाइव में सीसीटीवी का मतलब पता है? नहीं, क्या मतलब? Hi dear Lamia, here is your good name. Hi dear Abu Huzaifa, welcome back. How are you? Here is your beautiful name. अच्छा अवनी जी, 1 मिनट, जस्ट अ सेकंड डियर। सुनकर जी मेरे कमेंट का रिप्लाई नहीं दिया। यू मोस्ट वेलकम डियर, लॉट्स ऑफ लव, थैंक यू। अब मैं भूल गई हूँ मैं लिखने क्या वाली थी। हानिया, हाय डियर हानिया, here is your good name. Hi dear Abbas, here is yours. Hello dear संजय जी, वेलकम बैक। सीला, here is yours. आपको पता है आज चीनी भाई बड़ा आ रहे हैं लाइव में। Hi dear Sidra, here is your good name. वरना ये घूमे हुए थे बड़ी देर से। You can keep it light and playful, so simple that even friends are confused whether to follow you or not. Yeah. मेरी हॉबी क्या? अवनी लिखना मैंने। मैं भी बोलूँ, मैंने कुछ लिखना था, मैं भूल गई हूँ। अवनी लिखना था। हॉबी में मुझे सच बोलूँ तो गार्डनिंग बहुत पसंद है और मुझे पेंट करना भी बहुत अच्छा लगता है। जब कभी टाइम मिलता है तो मैं बैठ जाती हूँ लेके कुछ ना कुछ। हाय जवेरिया, हाउ आर यू? स्पेलिंग गलत थे, ओह सॉरी सॉरी। सीला, here is yours. Thank you so much dear अरीबा। क्रिकेट खेल रहा हूँ, कोई दानी तुम्हारा मैं कमेंट्स करता तो आप बहुत कंफ्यूज नहीं चलते। मैं कौन सा कंफ्यूज चल रही हूँ भाई, मेरा एम सेट है सीधा। हाय डियर सारा, हियर इज योर, समझे ना सैफू आपको बोला है। हाय डियर फाइजा, हियर। असल में आजकल जिलहज के पहले 10 दिन चल रहे हैं ना, तो शैतान सही है, सही बात है एकदम। हाय डियर चिनी भाई आपको बोला है। Hey dear Adya, here is your good name. How are you? मेरे घर पर भी बहुत सारे प्लांट्स हैं, बहुत सारे हैं। हाँ पता है, मैंने सकुलेंट भी ऐड करना है बट ना मुझे मिल नहीं रहा यहाँ से। काफ़ी सारी नर्सरी से पता किया है बट अभी आया नहीं है शायद। Hey dear Ahil, here is yours. ये क्या पूछा है, अस्तगफिरुल्लाह। Hi dear Shifa, here is yours. मैं हूँ भाई, नहीं बिल्कुल भी नहीं। Hi dear Prabhu, here is yours. Hey dear Daisy, here is your good name. Time क्या हो गया? Oh my god, टाइम तो एंड करने का हो गया। Guys, double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. लिवान्या, अच्छा अच्छा, 1 मिनट। Hi dear Livanya, here is yours. Hello dear Aniket, here is your good name. वीडियो बनानी है। ओके Ahil, hey dear Ahil, here is yours. Thank you so much for joining dear Ahil. ए साथ ही जुड़ गया, दोबारा लिखती हूँ, ठहरो। Hey dear Ahil, here is your good name. एक तो मुझे इनकी समझ नहीं आती है। हाँ मैंने कर ली। आपने क्यों ने वीडियो नहीं देखा है ना? क्यों ने वीडियो देखो जाके आप सैफू, आपको सब पता चल जाएगा। क्वेश्चन करने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं पड़ेगी फिर आपको। हाय डियर सहर, here is yours. Hi dear Noreen, here is your good name. Hi dear Aisha, here is yours. And guys, now it's time to end the stream. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. हाँ जी हाफिज़ा, बोलिए बोलिए। आपसे नाराज़ यार, 4-5 कमेंट मिस कर दिया। पता क्या होता है, जब मैं रिप्लाई करने लग जाती ना, फिर ना मुझसे सही से लिखा जाता है और ना ही मुझसे कमेंट सही से पढ़े जाते हैं, जो लॉन्ग होते हैं वो। तो सॉरी डियर माही। अब मुझे जाना चाहिए क्योंकि चीनी भाई और सैफू के कमेंट्स कुछ ज़्यादा ही ऐसे आ रहे हैं जो मैं पढ़ नहीं पा रही। तो चलते हैं। माया, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग एवरीवन एंड ओह हमने लास्ट नेम लिखना था। Hey dear Soma, here is yours. Hi dear Laiba, here is your good name. Guys, don't forget to press the subscribe button. क्या दादी? नहीं मैं नहीं देती, आपको पता है। आपको नहीं दी तो उनको दूंगी मैं लाइन। ठीक है, चलिए अपना बहुत सारा ख्याल रखिएगा। अब हम आएंगे रात को। हुसैन नहीं लिखा हमने। ये वाला स्पेलिंग लिखूंगी मैं, ठीक है। Thank you so much everyone for joining. Thank you so much for your precious time. And now it's time to end the stream. I will be back at the evening 7 p.m. and according to Indian time 7:30 p.m. Yeah. Till then, take care. Love you all. Bye. Bye bye.